everybody. This is So Many Sequels. I'm Josh.
I'm Andrew.
Oh! No! For the audio listeners, Andrew has shaved. Oh,
okay, that was a good bit.
Shocking.
I got nothing. I'm also here. I look the same.
Garrett continues to have all of his facial hair.
I can't do this.
No, you might need to
show.
turn the video off.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Andrew, is there a beard filter you
can we hide
add
this? On? How can I hide just one person?
Put your mask back on.
Wow, that was a shocker.
Okay. Look at everyone but Andrew.
Whoa.
Put it on speaker mode.
Woo, yeah. Love to put this clip on social media just so the podcast listeners can figure
Oh, God.
Okay.
Clean shave, though. It's a clean shave. You did a good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you get a professional in on that, or was that...
you need a straight razor for that one?
Or no.
Well, you've always said you want to do a straight razor, and this was the perfect opportunity.
But this was for a different reason. Like I did not cut it. So.
Well, yeah, but you knew that you were going to have to get it cut, right?
No.
Did somebody just snuck up on you?
No, this is actually for a movie that I'm working on.
Right. Yeah. But did they cut it? Did they cut it there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. They didn't tell you.
They told me specifically to not cut any hair on my face.
Oh, okay.
And they were going to alter it the way they wanted to alter it. So
Gotcha.
There you go. It's inspired me. My beard's getting kind of haggard. I need to shave.
It's upset me.
Yeah.
No, you look great.
Somehow, I have a feeling that Andrew's recently shaven face will be the most disturbing thing we talk about in this podcast.
Maybe. To try to get the train back on the tracks a little bit, I think we all introduced ourselves. And today, we are going to review a new movie from Netflix and Zack Snyder. This is Army of the Dead, our second Zack Snyder review of the year. Who would have thought?
Wow. So many Zacks. Oh, I'm sorry, so many Snyders.
So many Snyders. If you want to go back and listen or watch our episode about Zack's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, if you haven't done that yet, check that out. But today, we are going to review a actually new movie, not just technically new, from Mr. Snyder. This is his return to zombies. Fans may know he started his he really blew into mainstream by directing a remake of Dawn of the Dead. That's kind of where he got his start. And now he's back with an original story starring Dave Bautista, Amari Hardwick, Tig Notaro, and other people who I don't really know. So I don't know that most people do. I
didn't recognize a lot of the names here, other than Garrett Dillahunt. I recognize him.
Right.
From Deadwood, and very other other things. Raising Hope, I think.
You guys know the drill. This is a new movie, so you might be spoiled if you haven't seen it yet. If you can watch this on Netflix, where it's available. But to just get the gist of the plot, we're getting the band back together. We're building a team led by Dave Bautista to go into a zombie-infested Las Vegas and retrieve $200 million from a bank vault. Las Vegas is especially zombie-infested because that is where they were all kind of corralled when the outbreak happened. So it's very dangerous in the zombie world. And that's it. Let's start out with how does everybody feel about zombie movies in general? It's really a genre of its own.
It is.
I like zombie movies. I feel like they've been overplaying it. Like whenever it kind of got resurged around the 2001, 2002. And now it's like...
Snyder was a part of that.
That's true. But I feel like it's just kind of like, it's almost kind of like worn out. I feel like it's the same thing over and over again. It really is.
Interesting. Okay.
But do you like is the premise appealing to you, the idea of a zombie movie, or has it been worn out for you then?
I would say it's kind of worn out. Like there's a few exceptions that last, like Shaun of the Dead.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. Even so much as the movie Warm Bodies. I love the movie Warm Bodies. It's a good breakaway from the norm of a zombie film. But no, I think it's just kind of played out a little bit too much. So I like zombie movies because they generally are entertaining, but after a while, it's just like, they're all the same. They really are.
I think you're right to an extent. I think that it's very difficult to have a zombie movie like you could in that time. Like a zombie movie of somebody running and being chased is not good enough anymore because of all the zombie stuff we had. We have to have different stories. And that's why I think it depends on how you use the zombies and the story you're telling. So if it's a story that just happens to take place in a zombie world, I think those are the ways that you have better success anymore, where it's not a zombie plague that's already happened and here's a story of the zombie world, such as Zombieland. And I think that if you're going to do a zombie swarm movie, a good example is #Alive, which is also on Netflix, which is a Korean zombie movie that I very much enjoyed the way that they built that tension. It is just a regular zombie movie, but they really built the tension up. And so I think it really depends on the storyteller and how you use the zombies. But yeah, just in general, if you're just giving me a zombie swarm movie, unless it's like super bloody, gory, just sheer entertainment, it's probably not going to be that entertaining anymore.
For me, I don't really know if I have a big enough sample size to say how much I really like them. I appreciate that it's its own subgenre within the horror genre, the greater horror genre, right? And I've seen some that genuinely I do find scary, and I've seen some that I think sort of subvert the tropes. I love Zombieland. That's one of my favorite movies ever. And I like Double Tap as well. Shaun of the Dead, also great. I don't necessarily hate Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead. I've seen some of George Romero's stuff, but I've not, I honestly, I was probably like in my early teens. I couldn't give you like a critical response to those. I think it is difficult, especially with something like a show like The Walking Dead, which has kind of come and exhausted a lot of ideas that you could do. It makes it difficult. I think I agree with you, Garrett. I think if you can find a way to tell an interesting story about the people, it's better than just, zombie outbreak started happening and then we don't know what to do. A kind of borderline zombie movie, like it's a zombie movie, but it's kind of like not entirely, is a movie I really like called The Crazies. Mm-hmm. And I think I just like that because it's one of those movies that I found on like a TV channel that was on. And so like there's zero expectations of it. And so I'm watching it. It's kind of neat just watching it. Yeah, The Crazies, I like that. But I don't think I've seen enough to really say if I love or hate zombie movies in general. What about you, Josh?
I quite enjoy them. I actually don't really think that they're oversaturated anymore. I think we're at a point where they don't come out all the time to where I roll my eyes at, another zombie movie, in the way that a lot of people do think about like superhero movies. Some people are tired of. I'm not tired of them yet. And I'm still good with zombie movies. I think if anything, I respect a zombie movie that will just embrace what it is and not try to do too much with it or fall into a certain hole. Like if I had to say if any kind of zombie movie were overplayed right now, it's zombie movies that are also comedies. That's where I'm like, there are too many zombie comedies now. I want to see you get eaten. I don't want to laugh every time.
Make zombies a threat
There's
again. What you're
exceptions,
saying.
you know what?
Make zombies a threat again is what you're saying.
Yeah, make them a threat again. There obviously there's exceptions, but I want them to go back to being a horror movie a bit. I don't remember the last time I saw a zombie movie that was even intended to be scary.
Hashtag alive, yo, get on that train.
And that includes this movie, which I don't think was particularly scary, or I don't even think it was really meant to be. I think it was just kind of action.
No. I think it's a blend. It's a blending of several things. So let's get into this version.
On that note, I'll just pick up and say I thought this was a pretty good movie. I wish I had watched Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake again. I haven't seen it in years, so that I could compare them. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was really interesting in a lot of ways, both in terms of world building and how the zombies operate. I haven't seen a lot of zombie movies that have the zombies work quite like this. They seem to be intelligent, but still animalistic. And then there's just so much in-depth world building that will clearly be built on later. I don't know what everybody saw in their research, but this is basically the starting point for a zombie cinematic universe for Netflix. They've already filmed a prequel to this movie called Army of Thieves, and they are doing a anime style television series with most of the original cast returning to do voices. So it'll be interesting to see them dive into that more. That said, typical Zack Snyder, it was a little too long. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I thought the cast was good. Kept my attention.
What did you think, Garrett?
I also enjoyed it. I found it to be, I was excited at first because they hit me with an angle that I was looking forward to that blended zombies and a little bit of Oceans. These people were setting up this heist to, rob a bank in this zombie world. And I was like, what? Sign me up, man. And then after the explanation of the heist, it kind of lost some steam from me. Not in a bad way, but I just felt like it became secondary. And then it kind of fell into we're hunting and being hunted by zombies and bits of comedy and bits of drama and other things. I liked the aspect of the zombies, the intelligent zombies. I was very interested in the world. And I think that for me, the problem that I have with Zack Snyder is, again, the same. It was a little too long. It could have been tightened up and kept me entertained. But what I think Zack should consider, should they have him, is stop making movies and just make miniseries, sir. That's clearly what you want to do. I'm very intrigued by the world you're building here. You already have an idea for this whole world. So stop making these long ass movies and make a miniseries. This could easily be a Netflixian Game of Thrones, the way they have it set up, where there's lore of the zombie world being built already. So that is a different aspect of it that you could be wrapped in, and so many different characters that you've already presented. And so I can't name one single character right off the top of my head from this movie because there are so many. I can name maybe like two. And like you spend enough time with them, but like I don't remember any of them. And so I think that is a continual thing that I have with Snyder too, where you can flesh all that out in a mini series. And maybe that is where you should live because of the storytelling and the world building you always try to do. That's my plea.
What do you think, Andrew?
I think everybody kind of hit the nail on the head with this. My thing is that like I did think it was too long because that's just Zack Snyder, and I personally don't. There were scenes that were running on. I was just like, man, this needs to pick it up. It needs to keep it needs to just end it right now. I will say that it's pretty good. I wasn't like blown away by it. You know, it was a good time, but all in all, I thought it was okay for what it was. I like the different take that it's a bank heist within a zombie film. I think that makes it more watchable.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like, Zack Snyder just needs. If anything, I think Zack Snyder just needs an editor that will look him in the eye and say, "No, dude, this is too long. We need to speed this up."
Yeah.
Because the one scene where that cop got thrown in with the giant plague of zombies, like I'm like, man, this should have ended like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it plays out for a while.
But no, I really do like the fact that the zombies themselves have a leader. Like there's a head zombie who's capable of intelligence, who's capable of
reasoning,
of like, you know, repelling attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool, and I think they should do that more. So, it's going to be interesting. Where they go from this, where they go from here. So, we'll see. We will see. And that's all I got to say about that.
I will say that I didn't necessarily hate this movie, but there were times where I was rooting for the nuke. I think it's actually a pretty interesting movie in a lot of ways. It had a lot of good character moments. I agree. The zombies being not just mindless husks, which there are those kind of zombies in the movie too, but having a sort of a culture, you know, that they are starting to foster over the time of the movie. An intelligence. It's very interesting, and spoiler alerts. There's an aspect of they apparently, or at least Zeus and his queen, the king and his queen, they can procreate because they have this whole sub-story of they're having a baby and how and there's gonna be a zombie child. What the heck could that turn into? What would you be like if you were a zombie from birth? Crazy concept. It doesn't really, unfortunately, we don't really get to follow that thread all the way.
Miniseries, bro.
Huh?
Miniseries. That's what I'm saying.
Miniseries, yeah. We could have really seen that out. It's the characters, like you said, Garrett, are too, I think they're too sort of placeholder, cookie cutter in a way. Like the performances aren't necessarily bad. It's just like the way I would describe these characters, these movies, if I were to recite it to you, I'd be like the German guy, the black guy, the girl who died first. You know, like I couldn't tell you their names. I couldn't tell you even some of their backstories seem ambiguous in a lot of ways. So I don't really know much about them. Like I'm looking at the cast list name here. Omari Hardwick plays Vanderhoe. I thought his character was pretty interesting, pretty fun. He had this really fun diatribe when they found these bodies that were one of the first crews that they sent in to do this job. He was like, "What if it's us and we're in a time loop?" And it was a very fun little moment. But I think that unfortunately there's just too many things going on in a lot of ways. There's too much genre blending for you to really feel connected to the characters. A lot of things feel disjointed. And we'll talk about, I think, a major aspect of why some things feel disjointed in a little bit later here. But overall, I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think the characters are terribly engaging outside of maybe Batista. His character is Scott Ward, I think. I did think it was a interesting ending, but also, man, what a series of bad decisions people make in this movie. It's bad decision making 101.
Yeah.
For sure.
I will say, I did very much enjoy Dieter. I thought he was very funny. I like the relationship between he and Nomari. I was a little, and correct me if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I think this is a detriment to the movie or my watching skills, but they teased him with that big giant saw throughout the whole movie. And you see it in the opening credits, and to my recollection, he never really went ham with that thing again. And that is a big letdown to me because I want to see zombies get eaten up by that saw.
Yeah. It felt like there were a lot of opportunities for that, for like, like at first I thought, this is going to be like a little bit of like if Zombieland was a little bit more actiony, as opposed to being a little bit more comedy, because it's like you have a huge amount of zombies. You have the greatest zombie killers in the world and a German guy. And you can really go wild. And they show the guy cut a guy with a saw in half, they're stabbing him left and right. I was like, they're going to go crazy. And Zack Snyder's known for some crazy action stuff, some interesting action stuff. So like, this is going to be like awesome in terms of zombie kills. And there were moments, but it didn't really evolve a lot past just shooting in head.
There was some cool shooting in head though.
There were, there was a really weird one though, where it looked like there was like did you guys catch this? There's a part where Guzman, I do remember his name. He shoots a zombie and it almost looks like the zombie is a robot. Did you guys catch that? In
the video game scene?
He's in the arcades. He's on the gaming floor. This is towards the end before he gets caught. And he shoots a zombie, and like the zombie's face like flashes blue, and I swear sparks come out of it.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was like, I was like, is that a zombie robot? Because it was really weird. I'll try to see if I can't find the moment and show you guys sometime. But
I will say that outside of that opening, and a few times here and there, but none that I can really genuinely remember outside of the opening, the zombie kills did kind of let me down to an extent, just because you have Zack Snyder, who's known for what he's known for. You have this genre, which is known for what it's known for, as far as like gore and everything. And again, outside of that opening montage, I don't feel like they delivered on that as much as I wish they would have, because they do kind of blend. They have comedy, they have action, they have a little bit of gore,
heist aspect.
They have a heist, but yeah, they don't. I don't know. It really is this weird movie where I very much enjoyed it, but it's kind of exposition-y, and I feel like they missed on some opportunities, especially knowing that they were going to build a bigger world.
Yeah, and I feel like there are some logic gaps that maybe I would just need to watch again, and I need to pay better attention. But there's also like some time displacement gaps that I'm really confused about, because it just feels like they're on a ticking clock. A nuke is coming for the building, right? And it feels like they give you like, hey, we have X amount of time to do this, and then they take what feels like way longer than that amount of time before the nuke comes or any of that stuff happens. I remember specifically there's a time where they're like, all right, we got 20 minutes to get to the roof, and then they go through all these things, and I'm like, there's no way this took less than 20 minutes. And they get up and they go, okay, we still got 9 minutes. And I go, 9 minutes? No, you have, that was everything y'all did. I mean, there's editing here going on, sure, but that had to have taken way longer than 11 minutes for you guys to get out of the basement, cut your way through a wall, do all this other stuff you did, and then ride an elevator to the top. It took way longer than 11 minutes, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Also, I want to talk about the decision-making by Batista's daughter in a minute, but I don't want to interrupt the flow. What did you guys, what else do you guys want to say?
I will say that of all of the zombie movies that I've ever seen, this has to be the bloodiest. This has to be the goriest.
Really?
Wow.
Really.
How many zombie movies you've seen? 2? And they're both Zombieland?
And Shaun.
I've seen quite a few. Like,
Interesting.
I've seen quite a few zombie movies, but this has to be the absolute bloodiest I've ever seen it.
I'm
Like,
floored by that.
I mean,
yeah,
I do want to retract that. There are good zombie kills in this movie, specifically when the guy gets caught in the booby traps for the ball.
Sure.
But I actually think these zombies themselves had cooler kills on the humans. This movie had good human kills, especially that zombie tiger going after
Tiger,
the coward who killed
horse.
Wabu.
that zombie tiger killing that one dude, just I remember just like, oh dear God, like
That was a lot.
that's a horrible way to go. That is a horrible way to go.
If the tiger doesn't eat you and only bites you, do you turn to a zombie tiger? Is that like a werewolf kind of a thing? I mean, they're building this world where they can have kids. Why not have zombie werewolves?
To your credit about the miniseries, Garrett, I think one of the coolest little tiny aspects of this movie or sub aspects of this movie is the zombie animals. Because it's not just a zombie tiger, which is in the trailer. There's a zombie horse, at least one zombie horse.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty neat idea. The idea of like zombie animals that the smart zombies tame, very fascinating idea.
Well, it's like Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare, where he just rides a zombie horse.
Zombie horse.
Yeah, but so I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I was going to switch gears, but if you had something to say.
The only thing I will say is that I know that that Zack Snyder not only was writer, director, and producer, he also takes up the role of director of photography.
Yes.
I
was in there.
Wasn't really too much of a fan of it. I found it kind of annoying. Not annoying, but just annoying is not the word, but like it was distracting because there's I felt there were times when how like the depth of focus really kind of like screwed with you. Like it just messed with you a little bit.
There were
didn't like it. It made it too fake.
I 100% agree with the depth of focus aspect. There were times where it made sense and they used it to good effect of like, good real. But then there's sometimes it just seemed like they forgot to set the camera right or something. Like there were times where I was just like, okay, why is this blurry as heck?
Yes.
Like all over, like it's not even like it's all focused on this guy. It's like his face is in focus, but like his shirt's out of focus. And it was just distracting at times. And you can really tell that like he probably shot some of this while he was shooting that Jared Leto scene, because that has that same aspect of in and out of focus the whole time.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick was let's talk a little bit about Tig Notaro, who was digitally added to this movie over a year after it was shot, to replace Chris D'Elia, who was the original actor in the role, and we don't talk about it anymore. So did anyone not know about Tig Notaro being digitally added before they watched it?
No, I'd heard about it. You didn't know, Andrew?
I did not know it, and I read up just after I finished it about that, and I'm like, oh, okay.
So
did that stand out to you then?
That's what I was going to ask. I was glad someone didn't know, because I'm wondering if it was noticeable that everything she filmed was with a green screen.
Actually, no. I will say no. Like I honestly couldn't tell. So, and I even went back and I rewatched the scene or two of it, and I'm like, oh, this was actually, I feel like it was okay.
I'll piggyback off of that. I also didn't know until this moment. But I will say there were moments whenever I thought that, specifically whenever she is in the car or in the helicopter, just screaming, yes, yes. Like it looked fake. And I was like, man, I honestly thought, did they just put her in like a green screen and say, scream yes and be excited for like 5 minutes? Because that's what it kind of looked like. But overall, like when she was with people, I didn't notice. I had no idea, but just specifically when she was by herself in the helicopter.
They do a good job of adding her in, because especially if you go back now and look, if you notice, she is almost always on camera alone. They do editing tricks and whatnot to make her seem like she's in the group. They'll do that depth of focus thing I noticed where she's out of focus.
Yeah, she's like all over the place in
And
focus.
Dave Bautista is in focus, and it's because Tig's not really there. And I wonder if that played a role in choosing that kind of blurry style. But I thought it was really cool. I had read that Zach said that it was a really expensive decision to make, but that he didn't regret it, and that he thought it was the right move to make, regardless of cost. And I thought she did a great job with the role. She's very funny. Yeah. She is just great, and to be able to pull off that kind of dry wit on a green screen without any real actor, I think is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was gonna say, knowing I was obviously I was very aware when I was looking, like as it was happening. But and not that I want to see him at all. I'm really curious about what the dynamic was like. Like, I do want to see like deleted scenes. I want to see like did they wholesale change the character because you're bringing in Tig Notaro? Let's play to her strengths versus Chris D'Elia. I don't even know.
It's D'Elia.
Chris canceled. Who cares?
So I'm really curious what it looked like. I'm not asking for a release of the D'Elia cut, but I am asking to maybe see what that replacement. I want to see the work. I want to see how they
I would like to see
how the transition went.
They do have a making of documentary on there on Netflix. So I don't know what it is. I meant to watch it, but I forgot. But they do have a making of thing.
All right. Well,
okay.
Let's move on to box office stats real quick. There's not a lot for this movie.
Big goose eyes.
It was briefly released in theaters by Netflix. The film made $265,000 on its first day. And an opening weekend total of $780,000 in somewhere between 430 and 600 theaters, which is not too bad. It's a little bit better than Netflix's last theatrical release, Roma. The movie did fall short of industry projections, though. They thought it might make $1.5 million. Anyway, that's your box office stats. They're probably not going to be much more. I think it only had like a 2-weekend release schedule.
Netflix doesn't release every movie out in theaters. I wonder why this one. A lot of times they do it because they think they're going to be Oscar nominated, I guess, for effects.
I think it's a pandemic thing.
Yeah, I think they're just trying it out.
I think they made deals with theaters for content.
So I'm also running the Letterbox game this week. I forgot my Letterbox hat.
I thought you were.
I'm running the game. So, guys, let me get your guesses here for the Letterbox game. I'm looking up Army of the Dead.
Ooh, this is tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
It's so fresh.
2.6.
2.6 from Josh.
Throwing it out there. Little thought involved.
Mm-hmm.
As usual.
I think it'll be a little higher. I don't think it'll be a 3 range. I think it'll be a 2.8.
A 2.8 for Garrett. Oh, Andrew's looking upset.
That's what I was going to go
with. Without that beard, you can see how much Andrew's really upset now.
So, you said 2.8.
Yep.
Man, that's what I was going to go with.
Tucker.
You got to go up or down.
I'm gonna settle with 2.7.
2.7 guess from Andrew. Well, it was a moot point anyway. It's a cow's opinion. Yeah. Garrett wins because it's exactly 2.8.
Oh, snap. What up?
There you go. 2.8. So what would we rank it real quick? And then I'll read some reviews.
3.0 for me.
I'm also 3.5. Okay. I'm also going to give it a 3. Oh, 2. 2.5 from Andrew. Yeah. I'm also going to give it a 3. So 3 from me and Josh and a 2.5 from Andrew.
Yeah, I'll give it a benefit of a doubt and just go with 3. It's generous.
I wasn't bored.
No,
I was thoroughly.
I just wasn't overly compelled, and that's not a problem.
Okay. I'll give it a 3.
Oh,
wow.
Never hard.
Don't change it just because of us.
Pressure. We didn't even force you to do that.
No, that was all on you, and I said that I was being generous with it.
Nah.
And in that case, I take it back down to a 2.5. So there.
Well,
double stamp.
Army of the Dead, you almost had a 3 from Andrew, but he's
going to lower our rating to about 2.8.
Probably somewhere around.
How's that work out? Okay, so here's some reviews. Patrick says, I'm glad Zack Snyder got back to what he's good at, making dumb movies that know they're dumb instead of dumb movies that think they're smart.
That's good. That's good insight.
I'm trying to find a quick witty one here. Annie says she gave it 3.5 stars. She says, you guys will never guess which popular 90s Irish alt-rock hit Zach chooses to end the movie with. Lol.
I rolled my eyes at that moment.
We didn't mention that. Okay, so what's the character's name? Omari is the name of the actor. Omari
Hardwick, yeah.
Omari Hardwick rolls up on the set of Nomadland to the tune "Zombies" by the Cranberries. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, it's the acoustic version, so at least he changed it a little.
I don't care. It was the least inspired choice.
When I realized it was happening, I went, "Oh." And then I made myself laugh out loud when I thought, "Oh my gosh, he's walked all the way into Nomadland."
Yeah,
that was fun.
Zombie.
And then the last review, evidently, Clear Suicide Squad should have stayed a DCU Zack Snyder movie. It was basically, this is basically his version of Suicide Squad.
It is kind of Suicide Squad. Like, okay, well, that was fun.
Yeah. On our way out, I want to ask, did they nuke those kids? Because like there was a quarantine zone outside of Las Vegas, and they was making a whole point about how they weren't going to evacuate the quarantine zone. And so she goes, her mom's in there. I got to go save her. Well, guess what? Mom died. Kids got nuked. Why didn't she just take the kids? Just take the kids and go. Okay, the mom's dead in Zombieland.
They should have gotten into a bank vault and they would have been fine.
I had to say it. Anyway, we're about done.
Yeah. Find us online on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Subscribe to the show if you haven't done that yet. We're obviously on YouTube if you're watching the video, and we're obviously on podcast apps if you're on a podcast app. So subscribe through whichever method you choose. Let us know what you thought of Army of the Dead by checking out our social media accounts, and we will see you guys next time with another fun review. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.